I was pretty naive when I first came here. I mean, I really had no idea what I was doing. I was doing a survey on poverty in America, and Pine Ridge was just a statistic. In the beginning, there was me seeing this extreme poverty and violence and gangs and saying, whoa, I have to get that. This is crazy. There are gangs in a town of 300 in the plains of South Dakota. And so I wanted that story. Yeah, I had my own agenda. My agenda was, I have to get this because I can't believe this exists. I just put myself out there and put myself in a vulnerable situation where I'm just a guy walking around the streets and people saw me and wanted to know what I was doing and just took me in. If you put yourself out there, you get taken in. And so the people that let me in, they just happened to be in a dark world. And so I used that as an opportunity to talk about genocide and to talk about what it means to grow up in a prisoner of war camp, where one day the guards went away.
It is dark, and you don't see it because you don't see behind the scenes. You're not going to see what we see behind the cameras, behind closed doors, behind what the cops can't see, behind what your cameras can't see, but only we can see.
What is that?
It's a lot of more violence and a lot of more bullshit, a lot of more drinking from our kids. I don't know, I just see the same old cycle of sin.
Manderson is the place that I landed when I first came here 7 years ago, and I think statistically it's the most violent. A lot of the kids call it Murderville. And it's not always just like crazy gang violence. There's just violence in general. There are terrible, terrible car accidents and accidental deaths, and it's a place with a lot of suffering. It's a hard place to be. It's a hard place to grow up. And it's a place I continue to go back to, you know, for my work and because I care about the people that I've come in contact with there. In some ways, really poor places are quite easy to photograph. And that's kind of a sad thing because I think it's why people end up not going very deep, is because you can go into a place that is in really rough shape and make pretty textural photographs in a handful of days. And that's what a lot of the stories about Pine Ridge are, is some really pretty pictures of ugly things that are about violence and gangs and poverty. And that's it. And they stop there. And nobody looks into how did we arrive at that place? What is the history that created this poverty? I didn't want to make statements about the aesthetics of it or just about the severity of what people were going to be seeing. I wanted to really tie it to a history, and I think that it was in that moment that I really realized that this was the time to pick a side.
The Lakota are one of many tribes that were moved off their land to prisoner of war camps, now called reservations. The Pine Ridge Reservation, the subject of today's slideshow, is located about 75 miles southeast of the Black Hills in South Dakota. It is sometimes referred to as prisoner of war camp number 334, and is where the Lakota now live.
That was the moment it stopped being just about journalism, when I actually chose a side. And I chose their side, and I chose to say what they wanted me to say.
The last chapter in any successful genocide is the one in which the oppressor can remove their hands and say, "My God, what are these people doing to themselves? They're killing each other. They're killing themselves while we watch them die." This is how we came to own these United States. This is the legacy of Manifest Destiny. Prisoners are still born into prisoner of war camps long after the guards are gone. These are the bones left after the best meat has been taken. A long time ago, a series of events was set in motion by a people who looked like me, eager to take the land and the water and the gold in the hills. Those events led to a domino effect that has yet to end. As removed as we, the dominant society, may feel from a massacre in 1890 or a series of broken treaties 150 years ago, I still have to ask you the question, how should you feel about the statistics of today? Is any of this your responsibility today? I have been told that there must be something we can do. There must be some call to action. Because for so long I've been standing on the sidelines, content to be a witness, just taking photographs. The suffering of indigenous peoples is not a simple issue to fix. So where does that leave us? Shrugging our shoulders in the dark? The call to action I offer today is this: honor the treaties, give back the Black Hills. It's not your business what they do with them.
This picture is my grandma and her husband took when they went to Mount Rushmore. I think it's kind of symbolic as to how, like, a lot of white people have kind of taken over the Black Hills because they're just using it for profit and money. I mean, I think everyone just focuses on, the faces. They never really focus on the trees or the beauty of it, and it's pretty sad because our people have been through a lot, and it's really depressing to think about how we think of the Black Hills as sacred because of Wind Cave where we came out of, and it seems like a big mocking of our culture because they carved our rock into some people we don't even worship. So it's just like a big joke to me. And there's been this ongoing controversy about it, about how we think we deserve our Black Hills back, but they're just going to pay us off. And it's like, well, we were cheated out of the Black Hills through a treaty because we didn't know what they were talking about. And it feels like this ongoing deception, this ongoing war within ourselves and with the white people because, we're the minority and this was once our home. And we're declining, and every day a little bit more of our people just kind of die away. Our culture starts to fade. And it doesn't seem very fair because we were here first.